Okay, so next, prepare to be captivated by the journey of a company with a legacy spanning 90 years. Our next speaker brings over 2 decades of experience in supply chain, digitalization, and smart factory. His insights into smart manufacturing journey in a 90-year-old company promises to provide a unique perspective on driving transformation in a company with deep roots. I'm thrilled to introduce Tarun Chopra, Head of Manufacturing Services at Danfoss Group IT. Your applause, please. Thank you, Tarun.
Good morning, everyone. Wow, what a crowd. Had I known there'll be so many people, I would have spent some time with the hairdresser. Thanks for the opportunity as well. So I'll just walk you through a little bit. I'll give you a little bit insight into who Danfoss is, what Danfoss does, and why it was so important for us, and even more important now on the journey we are. So we just celebrated Danfoss's 90th jubileum in August, and it was a super good event. It shows the legacy of the company, how we've evolved over the past years, how we've done mergers, how we have done acquisitions over the years, and where we are. So the first 20 minutes of the talk, I will give you a little bit of insights where we are and who we are, and how critical is an important part of our journey. And the last 10 minutes, 5 minutes, I would leave it up to the audience to, if they have questions, please feel free to ask. So that means you guys have to listen fast. A little bit about myself, so I'll run this pretty fast. I'm an IT guy by heart. I've worked on the business and manufacturing side for the past 2 decades. Mostly on the supply chain, mostly on connecting all the different landscapes of the systems that are there in manufacturing, plus in an organization. I work with a lot of MES suppliers, and CM is not the first. But yeah, I think over the journey that I've had, I've worked with automotive, I've worked with discrete, where I am right now, and also semiconductor. And it's been truly fascinating because the industry is so different, and what you learn from the different industry and the needs for the MES might be completely different from the other one. My functional expertise is on the business IT strategy, mergers and acquisitions. We got even bigger now in Danfoss because we acquired Eaton Hydraulics last year, and Bock this year, and last year Semicron Danfoss. Yes, a little bit about Danfoss. So who is Danfoss? So we are basically probably one of the biggest companies in the realm of power solutions, climate, and power electronics and drives. I mean, we have presence in over 100 countries. We have sales offices in almost all of the 100 countries. We are helping in decarbonization of the world. So we provide parts, we provide components, not just for the application, but also in electrification. So that's a huge focus. We are over 42,000 people. And just keep a note of the number of plants we have. We have 97 plants, and I'll come back to that in a bit. The 3 business segments that we serve is power solutions. That's 50% of Danfoss. 2 years back, it was less. Because we acquired Eaton Hydraulics, that became 50% of the group sales. We have 52 factories there. Climate solutions, that's where I originated. So I was in business, and I moved to Group IT this year. And that was because of a reason. Because what we were doing in business made sense that we do it for entire Danfoss. We have 31 factories here and application centers in China and India and in US. And power electronics and drives, I guess we have competitors here for Danfoss as well here. So good. Sectors that we serve in, we are into construction, industry, highway, agriculture, district heating, air conditioning, and I think during the time of the decarbonization, during the time when sustainability is on such a high agenda, I don't think our relevance becomes even more important now because we're providing organizations and the companies parts and solutions which help them decarbonize. That's an interesting slide. So you can see how much we've grown. In 2017, we were 5.8. In 2021, we were 7.5. And 22, 10.3. We've had a huge transformational growth. We've acquired, we've grown big. And when you grow that big, you need systems, you need platforms, you need to standardize, or you need to start thinking about standardization. Whether you achieve or not, that's a different thing. But yeah, we've had massive growth. And this continues in, these are the figures from 22, but in 23, we have pretty similar figures. So organically as well, we have grown a lot. So it really shows that we as an organization made a conscious decision that we want to transform also our digital landscape. So this is where we started, right? So this was a few years back where we really felt the need that I think manufacturing is overlooked. I mean, we talk about a lot around ERP, we talk about PLM. I mean, sorry if there are ERP guys here. I'm still an MES guy by heart. So manufacturing is overlooked. So we really went throughout our organization, seeing what is our total landscape, how we can have one common backbone. And the idea was that we build up a complete end-to-end integrated ecosystem. That means we have from R&D side PLM, from supply chain one ERP, and smart manufacturing, sales marketing as well, the CRM platforms. And I, from group IT, I'm responsible for all 97 plants in the area of supply chain and interfacing it to R&D plus sales and marketing. So our scope is huge. And because our scope is huge, I think we had with our CEO, we had the realization of the fact that we are underspending in manufacturing. We are underspending in manufacturing, and it is a key enabler if you want to have an end-to-end. So we are pretty well in R&D. We are pretty decent in the sales and marketing, products and services as well. But one area that had been neglected was manufacturing. So let me talk a little bit about the smart manufacturing and that. And this is one of the key enablers if you want to have data from manufacturing, if you want to have one common platform where we see the value for the business in different factors, what Shantanu mentioned. So what we did was we dissected the smart manufacturing. So we learned a lot because of the fact that you can run this as a program, you can run this as an initiative, you can run this as whatever you want to call it. But in the end, I think it's a concept. It's a concept that builds, that is accumulation of several different things put together. And what we agreed within our management team, looking at the capabilities that we have, was the fact that for us, if you want to have fancy data, my boss had asked me once when he hired me, Tarun, I want to see this data from the manufacturing in a nice report. And I told him that, sorry, but you've hired the wrong guy, because I think we need to fix the backbone first. So until we have that, no matter how fancy your data looks like, it doesn't make any sense. It has no value whatsoever. So what we wanted to focus was, so sorry about the typo there, so that's MES mom. So we have a huge landscape of plants, right? We had 97 plants, and every plant is slightly different. Of course, everyone likes to say that we are different and we are special, but in the end, MES is MES. It needs to do the execution of a plan order in a certain way that is defined by the type of manufacturing processes you have. So we are on a journey of standardization of MES platforms in Danfoss. So we wanted to focus first on MES. We wanted to first focus on the connectivity and standardization, the OT security part. What you see in the black is we will not focus on it right now. We will do it. We will do it at a later point in time, but the most pressing things that need to be done are in these areas. So we have a conference which is called GMM. It happens every year where around 200 people, top leaders of Danfoss, come and talk about what would be our next strategy for the next 2 years. And I think there is a strong mandate around having MES as first the backbone and having a standardization across the plants. We'll start with one segment, and then we'll go on to the next one. So we will not do everything at the same time. So I think you as an organization, I mean, there are suppliers here, there are customers here of also Danfoss. I think it is very important where you want to start, and you need to prioritize. So these are the business values that we are getting. Thankfully, I don't have my financial controller here right now, but he would have asked me, Tarun, you've implemented MES, show me the headcount reduction. So, I mean, my answer would be that you need to let it realize for the next 1.5, 2 years, because the ROI is for 3 years. So, of course, all of these figures do matter in the end, because the organization is investing in it. But we have very solid business cases behind it. And we see already the value coming now after implementing the MES in one of our lines in Denmark. Going forward, so focus areas, right? So I talked about standard MES MOM would be the one area that we will focus upon. That means that we have different landscapes. We will harmonize them. We have acquired companies where they have legacy systems. We will transition them out. But it's a huge task. And I think these are some of the areas that we want to focus, where connectivity becomes even more important, because you have different MESs that are there in Danfoss, and at the same time, you want to have an agnostic way of connecting those machines, PLCs, to any MES layer. We will focus on the edge OT part and the OT security. The OT security it was not in our focus area 1.5 years back, and it became now because we were hacked in Semicron Danfoss. So you would see the news. If you search Semicron Danfoss, you would find that. It becomes even more important as a manufacturing organization that your OT solutions are super secure. Your infrastructure is very secure. And that's why this came into highlight, and that's why we had to pause and refocus. Along with the MES implementation, this needs to be our focus as well. So this is a little bit of a journey that shows how we started it. Yeah. So in 2019, we did the value proposition for smart manufacturing. In 2020, we got an agreement from all the 3 segments that we are doing this assessment, where functional evaluation, technical evaluation, you name it, we did it. We consolidated different use cases to the point what Shantanu mentioned. I think it is very important that you pick the things where you have a business impact and not blindly implement where it doesn't make sense. It costs money, it costs resources, people change jobs, move out. So you need to be super careful in the use cases that you implement. We consolidated those use cases across multiple segments, and we prioritized them. We had an organizational change because we want to focus on these things. So it's very important that when you do prioritize, you need to also see the abilities that are within the organization, and either internally or externally. and need to reorganize your setup accordingly. It seems pretty slow, but I can tell you in Danfoss world it was decently fast because we are a huge organization. And getting it done throughout 3 segments was not an easy task. We got these work streams approved. So the 4 work blocks that you see are the work streams that we are working upon. We are in a stage where we are templatizing the solution right now and having a governance around it. And we have a roadmap for 1 out of 3 segments that was there in 2023. Right coming before to this event, we have 2 out of 3 actually now. So we have the second segment, which is the Semicron Danfoss, which is the power electronics and drives. We will also have the same solution implemented. The same is in 26. We continue with our journey. It would be a journey because it cannot be done in 1 day. It cannot be done in a year. It needs to continuously evolve, and you need to reiterate every time. Yeah, that's my last slide. And God, I can talk about my learnings throughout my career, but I think it never changes somehow. I think I would put it the first one, yeah, top-down and bottom-up buy-in. I think we did very well in this area. We did super well, but I still put this because as we are in a summit, and I want to share, our learnings and hear from you guys what your learnings were. We did this very well. So that means we had the buy-in from the top management that it makes sense. This is a business value. This is a business proposition. But we also went bottom-up. That means that we talk to the operators, we talk to the supervisors to tell them this is the business value. It doesn't affect your jobs. It makes it better. How you do things, how you look for data in a certain control systems or the reports that you generate, you can do it in a much better way. We got the buy-in from them. We got the buy-in from the Workers' Council. So it was a very good way of doing it. Find your own sweet spot. I think I just met Miguel Torres right now in the morning, and he reminded me we were both in a workshop, and we both came out, and we were smoking. Sorry, he was smoking. I was standing next to him, and he asked me, Tarun, do you want to change this as well? And at that time, call it naive, ambitiousness. And I said, yes, I want to change this part of the control systems. In the hindsight, when I look at it, it did not make sense. It's just too time-intensive, and it does not bring any value. So I think you need to really find your balance when you go through your journey. What is the right thing to change? What is the right ambition level? And I don't think you should be afraid to scale down your ambition level also a little bit. Mentioned already, reevaluate every step, project, business value. So like I said, initially we had 6 to 7 work streams that we wanted to work upon. We were hit by the Semicron crisis. It was a super good learning. Now we are in a stage where we had to pause the project and reiterate and see where we are, and the priorities change because the organization evolves. Yes, know your strengths and weaknesses mentioned. Yeah, last but not the least, build a strong partner network. This is very important. You might not have all capabilities within the organization. People might change, shift jobs. You need to build a super good network so that you can go through your journey. I think that's it from my side. Questions? I'm 11 minutes, so I'm good on time, Anna.
Hello? Yeah. So does anyone from the audience have a question? Please raise your hand so they could bring you a microphone. Francisco, here in the front. Oh, well, sorry.
Hi, this is Abhinav Agrawal.
Hi.
This is a great story that you have shared, 97 plants across. And What I want to understand is how did you go about deciding the rollout strategy? Is it plant by plant, BU by BU, geography by geography, feature by feature? What is the strategy in creating, smart factory rollout?
So I think it comes back to the business. It comes back to the business as to where it makes the most impact. I think you, from your leadership team, need to understand what out of all of these plants, which one has the most pressing need. I mean, of course, everyone will shout. Whoever shouts the loudest might get it, but that should not be the case. It needs to be really value-driven, right? So for us, it was also the same case that we have different plants. Everyone wants it, but where do we implement first? So I think you need to see different things. You need to see the maturity of the plant. You need to see the people who will be the end users of the system. Are they willing to accept the system? That makes your life easier. So there are a lot of parameters that you need to consider when deciding a plant. But once that is done, then I think it's a matter of showing the success in that plant, and then taking the learnings out of it, and then creating a rollout plan based on, so every segment, or I don't know how the business works in each of your organization, but for example, in our organization, every segment, there is a segment leadership. And we go to the segment leadership asking for all the head of supply chains that this is the rollout plan. We propose them something because we go through all the plants. We see the maturity level. We see what systems do they have, what is the complexity of the systems, and then we propose them. And then they come back and say yes or no to it. And, we jump as high as they tell us to.
Thank you. I saw Francisco nodding his head, so I'm assuming that your question was more or less related to this one, but
yes,
please.
Sure, if the microphone working? Yes, thank you. Well, first of all, Tarun, thank you very much. I know you have a very busy agenda, so thank you very much for coming here. Yes, the topic was similar, but I'll put it in a different way for you, okay? So you have a very diversified set of segments in business, right? From semiconductor to HVAC systems and so on. And you have 97 plants. And you are acquiring more and more over time. So for the sake of discussion, let's say that you have 100 to take care of. The first rollouts will take a little bit longer, right? But then once you can accelerate them, let's say that you can do a rollout in 6 months. With 100 plants, it will take you around 50 years. Right? The only things we can know is that I know the life expectancy is increasing, so you will still be alive, probably retired, hopefully.
Exactly.
I'm sure critical manufacturing will also exist still by then. No, but seriously, how can something like this be done?
Sorry,
How can something like this be done? Because regardless of the maturity and the sequence, and yes, some are more eager or more prepared to start, but then eventually it will have to come to a very broad set of factories at a very high speed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, maybe things will change so dramatically that they will never see it at the end. Right? I know it's challenging, and I know you might not have all the answers for this, but really like to understand your view on that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think thanks for the question. I think it is. Again, it comes back to when you're implementing and when you have a rollout strategy. I think you need to reconsider your rollout strategy after every few rollouts. I think you need to see the capability of the team, also the capability of the plant, and probably the business has gone up and down, so probably it doesn't make sense to implement in few lines because there is no added value. But I think you need a strong set of team within the organization, plus a network who can help you with this rollout. And at the same time, I mean, when you have so many plants, I think it really depends on the operating model of your rollout. I mean, do you want to do it by yourself, or do you want the business to take the ownership of the system and extend it? So in the end, it's the same organization. So of course, it's in our benefit that it's implemented throughout. But I think I don't think there is one size that fits all kind of a strategy that you can make. I think you need to go through your rollout plan and strategy after every couple of years. And the most important is, I think you need partners, you need an MES supplier who supports you in this and who guides you as well, because I think they have a lot of experience from further implementations. So I mean, I still remember these words from Miguel, but when I saw him, it came to my mind. But I don't know if it answers your question, Francisco, but it's when you start the implementation and when you make a rollout plan, I think it's very important to scope it. Maybe it doesn't make sense to implement all capabilities, so that can shorten the speed of the rollouts. But I mean, I'm coming from the automotive background, so there's a lot of standardization there. I mean, you guys are from semiconductor, so there's a lot of standardization. I'm over time limit, but
No, we have time.
I mean,
we have time.
I'm from in Danfoss. I mean, we don't have standardization, and it gets even more tough because one plant might want the advanced planning capabilities, the other one might not. So for a plant where there is standardization, I think there you can achieve the rollout a lot faster as compared to a plant which is 20 different, 50 different solutions. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? If you have a question, please raise your hand. No? Okay, well, your applause for
Thank
Tarun
you.
Chopra. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.